Hey guys, it's Jake, and today I'm going to show you how to set up a quiz style lead opt-in form, something that we've been using on some of our sites and seeing some nice success with. So I'll talk about some of the benefits of it, but I'm going to build this in the Thrive Leads dashboard. So let me just talk you through it and let's go ahead and get started. First, if you're just getting started, the first thing you're going to do is set up a new lead group. So think of these as just the different opt-in offers that you're going to have on your site. You'll probably have one lead group for each of those is one way to set that up. So let's just say in our example, we're going to say that we have a basketball site, okay? And let's say that we want to segment our audience to learn more about what kinds of things do they want to improve as a basketball player, because we're going to help them out with that. And so let's just say we've got shooting, dribbling, and rebounding. These are sort of the three categories that we talk a lot about. And we want to have a lead form where we find out, hey, what do you really need help with? And then that way we can sort of segment our audience and know a little bit more about them, but also give them a custom training plan based on what they really want to know, which part of their game they really want to improve. And so I've already got a test lead group set up here. And as I click to expand this, you'll kind of see what this is all about. So basically inside of a lead group, you can have all of these different kinds of opt-in forms. One that goes in the footer of the post, a widget, lightbox. We're going to talk about the screen filler lightbox, which you may have seen on other sites. That is the one that, as it sounds, just fills your entire screen, so it'll pop up usually when the page loads and try to get you to opt in, but it makes it kind of impossible to miss, okay? And so I like this one for that reason. So that you start by clicking add to set up your new form here, and then you're going to click on add a new form. I'll just call it test 1. And then from here, we're going to go into the design element of it. All right, and so it's got some default settings here, whereas, it would display every 7 days to the same person, so if they're navigating around your site, they're not going to get it every single time they go to a page, and you can sort of play around with some of the animation, but I just leave this as is, and then I go to the edit design button here, and then you'll be able to select from Thrive's set templates that they have. And they have quite a few to pick from, and a lot of them are really, really good. And of course, you can customize them to say and look pretty much however you want. So for the type of opt-in that I'm talking about, we need to go over to the multi-step templates. So these are the things that start by asking you a question, okay? Usually it's a yes or a no, or it's, pick one of 2 options or 3 options, something like that. And then based on your answer, you're going to send them somewhere different, okay? So let's take a look at this one here, because this has 3 options already built in, and I'm kind of familiar with this one, and that'll work well for our example. But again, you would pick the one that looks best for you, and you can always come back and change the template that you're using. So I click on choose template, and if you're not familiar with the Thrive Visual Editor, you can click into anything you want and edit that. So in my case, I might want to change the color scheme or whatever, but I would come in here and just change my header text to talk about, choose your basketball training plan or something like that. I would go down and obviously probably change some of these icons here. So again, you can just click on that, click change icon, kind of go through some of those steps, which I won't go into today because I really want to focus on just the logic behind this. All right, so each of these buttons, if I say, this example it has here, get a 6-pack, burn body fat, or get stronger. If I click on this, what's going to happen is down below I have this default state. So that is the page that we're looking at. And so it's just the terminology of Thrive. And then based on the button that I click, I'm either going to go to state 1, state 2, or state 3. So these are just 3 different pages, 3 different destinations that you can go. And so what I can do to check how it's set up currently, and then I also just want to point out real quick, you're not, if you have 4 options or 5 options, 3 is a very arbitrary number, so this can change, and you can also add steps into this process. It would follow the same stuff that we're talking about, but you can sort of make this as simple or as complicated as you would like. It just depends on, kind of what you want to do. So if I click on a button, this is where I can manage, by clicking on the event manager, this is where I manage what happens when they click on that button. And so this is telling me that if the trigger, somebody clicks, we're going to switch the state, which is what we just talked about. And so if I click on edit, I'll be able to see what's set up here. And as I said, this one is set to go to state 1. So very simply, if they click on this button, send them to state 1, okay? And so the others are going to be state 2, state 3. Hopefully that idea is making sense. So if I click on state 1, it's going to change my page. So now I'm going to see, okay, when they click on that first button, what are they seeing now? And again, I can edit all of this, okay? So in this example, It's get a six-pack, and all we're asking is for their email address, and we're going to send them their plan to start building a six-pack, okay? So in our case, we're going to send them their thing to become a better shooter in basketball, that sort of thing. So here's where sort of the magic happens. So if you click on the form, right here, you just click on where you put in your email address. What you're going to do is connect with a service, all right? And so this is where you connect it with your email service, your email autoresponder service, like an Aweber or Infusionsoft, etc. Okay, so you can click on create a new connection when you're getting started, and then you have two options. You have the API, which would be like a key provided from your email service provider, so you can do that, or you can use the HTML form code. So if you've created a sign-up form on there, you can simply go copy the HTML code, paste it in here, and sort of integrate things that way. So let's take a look at that option. I'm going to click on go to the next step. I'm going to paste in some code that I already copied from an Aweber form, and then I click on generate fields. And so Thrive takes that information and it sees what fields you had in there. In my case, just the email address. And then you can set up the email validation. This just means that they'll sort of check and make sure that the sequence of it lines up and it looks to be a valid email address. And then you would mark that that's a required field and click on save. And that's really all that you have to do. So now what's going to happen is I've set up my first state, so I would go do sort of the same thing for states 2 and state 3 and do the rest of my customization. But what I just set up logically is that when somebody goes here and they fill this out, it's going to be just like they filled out that form on my Aweber account that I pasted the code in for. And the reason that that's powerful is because not only are you getting a lead, but you're also getting more than just an email address. You know more about that person. So in my example, I know that this person is really interested in becoming a better shooter. And so what I can do is I can sort of funnel them into 3 different lists. And I've got a list of people that want to learn about shooting, dribbling, and rebounding. And so for my shooters, really, I might send them some other stuff too, but I'm really going to focus my emails on improving your shooting ability. So I'm going to talk about shooting form and drills you can do and all of these different things. And the same thing goes for dribbling and rebounding. And so in your case, depending on what your niche is or what you're doing, it really helps you sell to that person and sort of take them down the path of whatever, however it is that you make money. It helps take you down that path a little bit by knowing more about that person up front. And when you make these things really valuable, so like a custom training plan like this or something along those lines, we found that you get really good opt-in rates because people they want to segment themselves. They want to know, about the things that they're interested in, and they're happy to tell you that if you're going to give them something of value. And so hopefully this is helpful for you. The final step in this process, once I'm done with this, is I would simply, and I'm just going to sort of leave where I was, but you get the idea. If I go back to the Thrive dashboard, I just want to show you the final piece. So once I had built that out, save my progress, I would come here to this little display settings option for my lead group, and this is where you can turn this thing on. So right now it's set to show on all posts, but I could set it for all posts, all pages, and my home page, or whatever I wanted to do. You can set it by category, all these things. So it's a pretty powerful tool there. So once you build out your customization, check a couple of boxes, hit save, and it's going to go live immediately, and you'll start getting those leads. So hopefully this helps you guys out. Best of luck to you.